Afternoon all. We'll call the November 17, 2025 meeting with Greenville Board of Public Works and Safety to order at 5:30 p.m. Manager, roll call, please.
Mr. Colvin.
Here.
Mr. Hoover.
Here.
Mr. Rutherford.
Here.
Thank you.
Minutes for our last meeting, November 3, 2025, been distributed to members of the board. Any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff?
I did have one correction. I don't know if that.
It has been made, yes.
With that, then I would move that we approve the minutes. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. First on our agenda and in our hearts, Chief Ison. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening. Chief Ison, Greenville Police Department. I'm here to request approval of the flock safety contract. We are going to add 3 additional license plate reader cameras. We currently have 8. Our plan is to continuously build this infrastructure throughout the city. In addition to the 3 extra cameras, for the first time, Flock is offering live view cameras that they are installing on the same pole. So we will also be getting live view cameras for all of our existing and new cameras that we're adding. So just gives us one more benefit when we're going back and trying to find the bad guys and be able to prove that they were where we say they are.
We have the proposed contract in front of us. Any questions for the chief?
I'll move for approval. Second.
For the discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Mr. Petty. Afternoon, evening, whatever we are.
I'm just here tonight to request approval of the annual contract with Fleetio, which is our maintenance tracking software. And the addendum that was provided by legal. In the amount of $34,560, that amount stayed the same from last year.
Questions for Todd?
Move for approval. Second.
For the discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Next, we're going to talk to Mike Mahalik, a Valvoline instant oil change out in Lone Pine Commercial. Mike, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
What are we doing?
Good
here?
evening. Hey, yeah, so we're looking to build a prototypical 2-bay Valvoline instant oil change facility located at 5983 North State Road 135. We've been working through with a lot of the city's teams here on our approvals, and I feel like we're nearing the end here, so we're getting excited. I think we had mailed 4 performance bonds, a signed testing and inspections agreement, and I believe it was a $250 check to Mr. Pioni, and we're placed on the agenda here tonight seeking approval of those performance guarantees.
Mike, we've got a memo from our Mr. Pioni. Paul, everything looks to be in order?
Everything's good.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve as requested?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Great, thanks everybody. Have a great night.
Then we're going to Michael Morgan, talking about Sagebriar Del Webb. Maybe someone going to stand in for yeah. Think you're muted. I'm not sure what's the.
You are muted.
Okay.
There
There we go. I have much better hair than Michael does, so I am standing in for him.
I vote for that as well.
So I'm Allison Goldberg with Pulte Homes. We are looking for acceptance of performance guarantees for Sagebriar by Del Webb Section 3, and also acceptance and execution of the final plat.
We have memos for Section 3. Let's start with that one. Paul, everything good?
The plat has some revisions, so we're working through that with the engineer and developer on that. But yes, the performance guarantees are in order.
And Allison, you're aware of the issues with the plat?
Yeah, we'll work with Brandon to get that fixed.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll move for approval, subject to that, receipt of the revised final plat.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, let's now do section 4.
All right, so we're looking for acceptance of performance guarantee, I believe, for erosion control, and also acceptance and execution of inspection and testing agreements.
All same thing, everything good here?
All's good.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Allison, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Paul, welcome. We're going to talk about Greenwood Village South, and I think
Like
Mr.
this.
Colvin is going to recuse himself.
Yes.
Paul Poff, Greenwood Village South, here to request approval of our performance bonds and execution of our inspection and testing agreement.
Paul?
We're good.
Things are good. Okay.
Yes.
I'll move that for approval as requested.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Colvin, will we join the meeting? We're going to talk about Project Elk, at Louisville Commerce Center.
Yeah, good evening. So this
Hey,
one's should be pretty easy. This is a request of our maintenance guarantees to be released. It's been 3 years now. This is for the Amazon last mile. They're off of Collins Road.
I was worried you were going to jinx it, but it doesn't seem like you did. Everything good, Paul?
Everything's good out in the field, yes.
Okay.
Move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Mr. Heck, Joe with us?
Hello.
Hello. We're going to talk about One Christian Church Park, lot number 1. What are we doing here?
Yeah, this will just be an encroachment request for the required landscaping that they're required to do for the street frontage. So there's a existing and a proposed sanitary sewer easement that we're gonna have to encroach into for the required landscaping. So that's all we're seeking tonight. Is that encroachment?
Oh, are they on the encroachment docket or just?
No,
Okay.
when it's commercial or a project like
Okay.
this, we try to separate it out because there's usually an agreement required, as there is in this case.
Joe, I assume you've probably seen Jeff Weaver's memo with the proposed conditions.
Yeah, I just got those sent to me. Paul sent those to me today.
They look to be all the standard ones. No problems with that, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Okay. So motion to approve this subject to those 4 conditions.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Dustin Myers from Crossroad, the Grove Stones Crossing Commercial Subdivision.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. I'm here to request the acceptance of the third replat for block number 2 within the Grove at Stones Crossing subdivision.
It seems pretty straightforward, Paul. We're good.
Yes, it is good.
Do we have, you have the plat or?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much, Dustin.
Thank you, gentlemen.
My understanding is that Dave Romero contractor and Derek Vance have been removed from the agenda tonight of their own volition. Next is David Pellegrini, the estates at Rock Lane Bridge.
Yes, hi, my name is Terry Kinney. I'm the new president of the HOA. And when we were in September.
Can you approach the podium?
Yeah, good.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna actually turn it over to Dale, is
Okay.
the engineer. We have had 2 different engineers look at the issue as requested in September. And he's got a presentation that he would like to bring to your attention. So we're gonna let him do our speaking.
Good evening, Ms. Pellegrini.
Pellegrini.
Oh, you there you are.
Right here.
Okay. This concerns the drainage issue on part of Kenny Drive. And let's see if we get this thing to work. The last meeting, there was some discussion about conducting some engineering reviews. Whitaker Engineering did a study phase, and I did a lot of personal investigation on my part. And this presentation includes both common and individual findings. And this was discussed with both Rockland Ridge HOA and Robinson representatives on 10/3. If there's any question about my credentials to be able to speak to it from an engineering term, here's my resume in short form.
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions first.
Okay.
Before we go on, Mr. Rank. Have you shared any of this with the city? With
No.
Paul Peony?
No, that
Okay.
wasn't in my portfolio.
Okay, well, I mean, what we did last meeting, we met with Mr. Singh, and I think we issued a directive, and Mr. Singh said he was gonna take care and remove those pipes. And Mr. Jones was going to go ahead and check and confirm that that happened. Richard Jones, does that happen?
Yeah, the pipes are removed. I think there's still some fill in that easement area, but it's underway.
Okay, so you satisfied the requirement of the letters that we gave, the notices of violation, okay. So now, Mr. Rank, what are the issues that you're bringing forward?
These are basically a complete picture of the drainage situation in that area, which has been a long-running problem.
Okay. And I recognize that you have been before us and talked about this, but has any of that been shared with city staff?
Not in this current circumstances. It was discussed at the rezoning meeting for the Buckingham development back a couple of years ago.
Okay,
It
well,
was also discussed on the meeting in September that these were issues that, despite what's going on with the homeowner, they were grave concerns for the HOA and causing mitigating problems.
At our last meeting, though, we pretty well settled this.
No.
We took care-
No, we were told to get an engineer to look at it.
That was several meetings ago.
That was in September, sir.
But our last meeting, Mr. Singh was here.
I just took out my pipes, that's about it.
That was it.
He
That's
removed
not,
the
he's not
Problem is the law.
representing the HOA.
I'm representing myself.
What Dale is doing is representing the HOA in the development of what happened. And he has the history of what happened all the way back to the fact that it never even was completed to draft drawings that were approved. Wasn't seen after that. This has been brought to the attention of the board many, many times. Last time you asked us to get an engineer to see what it would take to fix it. And the engineer has uncovered additional issues and problems that were created way back.
Okay.
So that's what Dale's here.
and so you've got that
Yes.
engineered plan, is that correct?
Yes.
Detailed planning and engineering hasn't been done. They needed funding to do survey work and a bunch of other stuff to come up with a final solution. We don't have that yet. And that will require some non-trivial amount of money.
And are you looking for the city to pay that?
The city created the problem.
Well, I don't think I know that as a
Well, that's
member
what
of this
he's
board.
going to show you. He's
Well-
going to show you.
At least look at it.
We have a presentation that outlines exactly where the problems lie. And I have communicated with Mr. Pioni many times in letters and we have sent him everything that we have, including the engineering report that we had, the proposal. And Dale has worked up this based on the information that we received from the engineers, along with the Robinsons, along with the homeowners. Dale is a homeowner he lives in one of the homes that's flooded. So he has a right to speak and tell you what he's found out, I think.
Also, one more thing, the Joe Heck guy that was on your Project Plus, I met him myself, and what he explained to me and my fiance of how the water should be running, and it's the complete opposite from what's happening. I mean, he didn't come out there for so long, but he gave us the whole plan and everything, and he said water should not even be flowing through our backyards, and it should be went individually from each house from what they approved to the city before the development out to the back. He said, I don't know why water is even getting stuck. on your guys' backyard. But I needed him to come check, but he just told us.
At this point, I think the problem is, it's going to take considerable amount of money to fix this. And we didn't create the problem, and there's going to be development on Robinson's, which is only going to exacerbate what we've got going right now. So we would like at least for you to see, he's gone into considerable background and detail as to what they found when we had the engineer look at it.
Well, certainly gonna let you make your presentation. But I'm gonna tell you that there's gonna have to be some additional with, Mr. Jones probably.
And for the record, I was never provided any calculations. I was provided a proposal that they received from Whitaker Engineering. No drainage calculations, no plans, nothing has ever been submitted. So that is an incorrect statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. These are the affected residences, basically from 177 to 215 on Kenny Drive. This is kind of the overview of the entire facilities. You see that there's a tile drain that is a legacy that runs from basically the outlet of the detention pond out into the Robinson's property, and then all the water drains over to towards 5 Points Road. So that's the 5,000-foot view. Now, short history. In May of 2019, when I was getting ready to close on the property, the Westport construction manager told me that there was a drainage plan coming to reduce the standing water, but I never heard anything more about it. Interesting question. Why at this point was Westport still talking about a drainage plan? Because the as-built drawing was signed on 9/6/25. I noticed that there was a lot of issues with water draining in there, and I became concerned about the poor drainage and likely erosion on the property. I submitted a warranty request to Westport on 2/12/20, got no response. I personally raised this drainage issue on the April of 22 during the rezoning hearing for the Robinson property during the permit development in Buckingham. At that time, I supplied photos of the backyard flooding, and also raised these same drainage concerns at the Johnson County Drainage Board meeting when they were scheduled to try to review the Buckingham plan, but Buckingham never showed up. I understand there were some other issues there. And there we pretty much had a status quo. We would have 6 to 8 backyard floods a year. They would last 2 to 3 days. Otherwise, it was dry. A minor nuisance. I was more concerned about the long-term erosion effects that having that kind of water flow would occur. Then from December of 24 to April of 25, we had the 5-month flood. First, the water froze, and then it didn't drain away. I spent about $500 or $600 trying to get the grass to regrow. And I also found that when it finally drained away, I found a leach laying there, which I thought was interesting. Since then, I've been doing a kind of a personal investigation of the whole drainage picture in this area. And one of the things came up was the drainage plan. The drainage plan, the water that we're talking about comes from 2 on-site post bases, 4A and 4C, one of which is the pond, the detention pond releases by 30-inch storm sewers, and runoff drains to the south, then east into the existing grass channel. The existing grass channel is the Robinson Swell on the Robinson property. The other drainage basin was essentially a direct discharge from the residential lots into that grass channel. The approved plan was to intentionally release stormwater unconstrained from the pond number 4 control structure directly to residential properties, not to a purpose-designed stormwater channel. Now, this is what the plan looked like. We have the 30-inch diameter RCP outlets at the very top of the picture. The red line is what where that water goes, it runs across 4 or 5 backyards before it finds its way to the stormwater channel. The green arrows is direct runoff, and it was supposed to go directly to the channel. That was the plan, but this is reality.
Who developed that plan?
That plan was Project Plus.
Okay.
And it was laid out, and it's their drainage report that information is taken from.
So I don't mean to interrupt you, but you just said that Joe Heck with Project Plus said it was not, he didn't know why it was done that way, but even though his company developed the plan.
No, he didn't know why we were having these problems when we shouldn't be having them. He said, well, we approved water, like he just said, should be flowing outward from each house. But he said, I don't know why water is getting stuck at your guys' houses for weeks. And he said he's going to come out there, but every time I go there,
Okay.
I'm going home. So
I'm sorry, Dale, I didn't mean to.
Go ahead.
interrupt you.
No, that's fine. Trust me, I've done enough NASA design reviews that interruptions are not an issue. Now, what really happens is, yes, the water that's discharged from the detention pond does run down through there and then cut over, but all the water that drains off the lots follows the same path. The reason for that is that yellow dashed line is high ground that prevents that water, channels that water to the west of the drainage stormwater channel until it gets down to basically my property. So it runs south for a considerable distance and then turns to the east. Now, the design was the normal pond elevation is 853.7 feet above sea level. There's a 6-inch round orifice in the control structure designed to release any water above that level. Farther up, there's a 24 by 40 inch orifice in the control structure. It releases any water where the pond level is above 854.5 feet. For those of you doing the math, that's 9.6 inches. So you have a two stages of water release from that detention pond. The last one, the 24 by 40, is what causes the conditions, results in a high flow and floods backyards. Now, this is what low flow looks like. That's kind of the level that you get. That runs from 4 to 7 days after a rainfall between a half and an inch. This is what high flow looks like. That was taken off of my deck on the back of my house, by the way. And this predates the work that was done to install the pipes and things like that. So the area behind that second deck down there is where the fill and everything is today. This is a second picture of it. That's the high flow stormwater release source. The blue arrows show the drainage swell on the Robson property completely flooded, completely full. That's the magnitude of water we're dealing with. Plus, it also collects water from draining from the Robson property as well. So it's kind of a massive amount of water in a big rainstorm. It'll happen. Now, this is what the 5-month flood looked like in my backyard. You notice there's algae growing in that pond. It's been there, so it was there for so long. And it killed a substantial amount of the grass that was there. The flood first appeared in December of 2024. We had a heavy rain. We had kind of the typical flood. Then it froze and stayed that way well into February. Then it started thawing out, but it didn't drain away as I was expecting, but stayed there until about mid-May. Mid-April. Now, occasionally having water flowing across my backyard, I didn't really think that was much. As I said, it's not much of a nuisance. This is a nuisance. Now, summary findings, what I found and what the Whitaker found was the original drainage plan designed to improve result in recurring high volume, short duration running and standing water floods in the DAU and easements of 4 or 5 residential properties. Release of low volume, near continuous stream of water to the DUDs, easements, the 4 properties. And how long is that, Dave? those low flows, as Greenwood gets between 44 and 45 inches of rain per year on average. On average, it rains 120 days out of the year, you get measurable precipitation. So basically, we would see something like, on average, 3/4 of an inch of rain a week, which is more than enough to keep that low volume flow going. And it takes 4 to 7 days for that low flow to completely exit and stop from the detention pond. As a result, these residential properties would see a near continuous flow of water across their property. It's hard to call that, I don't think anybody that's sitting up there would call that anything but a nuisance. Now, we don't have that problem today because the low volume stream is mitigated using a legacy 8-inch clay tile in a new development. This didn't appear on the drawings on our side of the property line until it was identified on the as-built drawing. The tile starts at the, let me back up for a couple of seconds. I didn't. Okay. This is the control structure behind 215 Kennedy Drive. On the left is the control structure at the south end of the pond where you see the 2 orifices. The pond outlet behind 215 Kennedy Drive consists of 3 major things: the outlet pipes, the 30-inch RCP outlets, what they call the outlet energy dissipation structure, which is mainly there for erosion control. And then down in the lower right-hand corner is an old 8-inch clay field tile. It's been there probably 100 years or so, something like that. And the only reason we don't have that running water is because right now, that water that comes out goes into that tile and ends up over in the Robinson drainage swale. If that tile was not there, we would be having running water across those those residential lots most of the time. There's also an apparent discrepancy in the construction of the Nunnefarg control structure that increases the frequency and volume of the high volume floods described in 1A. Now, if you look at the drawings, it shows that the inside diameter of those 30-inch pipes is at the same level as the 6-inch orifice. So the pond would drain down to its normal design level. However, when they installed the pipes, they installed so the outside diameter of the RCP is at that level, at the design level for the pond. So what it actually drains down to is 3.5 inches above the design level, because the standard thickness of an 30-inch RCP wall is 3.5 inches. So we actually get more high volume flow releases than the design would suggest. That actually works to some degree because it would also reduce the amount of time it takes to get down for the low flow because you're not dumping as much water out. Kind of goes either way. Interestingly, the drainage report, the calculations were done for a 4-inch rather than a 6-inch orifice. Installing those pipes in that fashion and increasing the orifice size to 6 inches, both would be what you would do if you wanted to drain the pond faster between rainstorms, which would result in more water running more across the lawns. Finally, the topography of the drainage swell on the Robinson property renders it vulnerable to small amounts of material or damage. If you actually look at the contour map of that area, it is so shallow, there's only about a 1-inch change in elevation over a 200-yard run of that swale, about 1 foot. If you actually look at the contour lines, it is so shallow it doesn't even show in contour lines that run across it. So it's somewhat less than a foot in depth, and that's towards the east end along 5 Points Road. Right now, that's what undoubtedly caused the 5-month flood, was somebody and it's still there, dammed off the end of that swale, and it couldn't completely drain. Even today, a lot of that material is still there and renders it vulnerable.
Do you know who did that?
I've heard two different things. Well, I have a suspicion on one, and I've heard something different. I don't know who did it, and I would hesitate to point any fingers.
Either of those options, it wasn't city. But neither of those options, it wasn't the city.
One of them is the city.
Do you have evidence of that?
All I have is hearsay in an email that Dave sent me.
But who sent you?
Yeah, it was told to us, we had Jesse from Ely, and he talked to the city, and the city told him that that was created by the gas company. There was a leak out in the field, and they went out to fix that. My understanding is there's possibility, in order to stop the flooding, so they could fix the gas leak, they put the dirt there. And then it piled up. As far as we know, it stayed there. That's our guess. We don't know for sure, but we have a lot of emails from different people. Even Chris said there was a problem with a gas leak. And I did ask
we
him
recognize that.
documentation, and he sent me some pictures of the pipe that was repaired. So we do know there was a gas leak.
Okay. And we recognize that that's been one of the things started to back up and just to sink properly.
The main problem is that what might not be an issue for most of the other drainage swells in the county or in the area, this thing is so shallow and at such a low grade, almost anything could cause a problem. It has to be maintained. And right now, there's a question about how well it's being maintained in my mind.
Maintained by who? The property owners?
Property owners, I think, are, as I understand the regulations, the property owners are responsible for maintaining that, as well as any legacy field tile. So if you want to talk about any of these details in more detail, I have another dozen pages of information here if you want to see any one in particular. But now we get to plan approvals. This is the drawing revision block from the as-built drawing. The plan that as approved, result in owners being affected residents losing significant parts of their property because it's going to be having water run across it. Same thing is true if any other utility wants to use that property and it's being subjected to water, that kind of defeats the purpose of the DMUE. There were multiple opportunities to prevent the current situation. As you can see, Greenwood signed off on this drawing 3 times. And finally, one thing I learned in my 30-year engineering career is that compliance with codes or specifications are necessary, but they are not sufficient to guarantee a good design. So if somebody starts hiding behind codes or specifications, my experience is that the only thing it accomplishes is somebody pisses people off. So now we come to the point, what are the next steps? Here are my recommendations. Direction that immediate maintenance be performed on legacy field drainage tile, maintain or increase drainage capacity. One thing about this recent drought, which has kept everything dry, is that it enabled me to get in and actually photograph the outlet of the 8-inch tile, which is normally underwater. It's half full of sediment. If that fails, well, we're back to what the design was supposed to be, which is not really good. Maintenance grading of this Robinson swale to restore complete drainage of the pond. The other thing we're looking for is, we know that property is wanting to be developed and things like that. We'd like to see a commitment that requires current and future owners of that property to make sure they maintain this drainage capability during and after construction. Because if they don't, we're gonna have a 5-month flood, only it might last a couple of years. And finally, fund and construct a direct drainage path from the number 4 pond discharge to the Robertson drainage swale that does not cross multiple residential properties. And finally, I would stay removal. Unfortunately, they got a little ahead, but I could envision some solutions to this in terms of part 4 there, that we may want to actually add fill to that area to make sure the water goes where it's supposed to. It's kind of too late now that the pipes are already out, but may not want to do anything more until we find out where we're going to go in the future.
Thank you very much. I mean,
You have any other questions or?
Well, you've done a yeoman's job of outlining from your perspective, the HOA's perspective of what historically is going on, some of the reasons that you perceive that. And I hope you understand that what we're constrained to do is to talk to, and I appreciate your personal expertise and your career expertise. We've got to have plans from, maybe it's Whitaker, that's got to have some calculations to do that. I mean, you named a lot of people that have been involved. Westport, Buckingham, Projects Plus. You can recognize some of the property owners have filled in some of that. So I think we need to get that to the city. And I think you can start with Mr. Peony's office and probably get it with Stormwater Department, Mr. Jones. And then I know one of the, I'm not deaf to the concerns you're talking about with funding. And I'm certainly not standing up here tonight saying that this is something that the city is responsible for or not responsible for. That's something that is certainly yet to be delivered.
Whitaker did say that they would be more than happy to meet with you all about
Okay.
finance and stuff like that.
We've been asking for those kind of plans for a long time.
I would request that any meetings held with Whitaker and the city that I be invited to.
That's, you're going to be the petitioner. They can do that. I mean, that's fine. But you got to organize that, get that information in, and
I would also point out that 4 of the 5 items here don't require spending any money other than sending a letter.
Okay. Well, and whether or not that's within our authority to do that or not, Mr. Rank,
It's certainly not within the HOAs or mine.
It's on the easement, and that's our problem. You know, it's the easement's controlled by y'all. You have to be able to get to it. You have to be able to do it. So I think the review is appropriate. I think that we appreciate you including Dale and looking at it from an engineering standpoint. But you know, at this point, we need to get some solidified plans.
okay, and that's great. That's kind of what we need to be able to address these concerns. They've been going on for a long time. And you've been spending a lot of effort to get here and talk to us, and we want that to be able to get the resolution for you. So if you're going to be the point person, Mr. Rank, I don't know if it's going to be you or who it's going to be, but need to get connection with Whitaker and get that to Mr. Peony, and he'll work.
Most of the discussions with Whitaker have been going through the HOA.
Pardon?
Most of the discussions with Whitaker have been going through the HOA.
We can get that set up. That's not a problem. And he can give his full presentation. I'm sure that Mr. Peony can then see all the documents and all of the historical things that he's gone through. We have a question here on the homeowner that has removed the pipes. If he removes all that dirt and stuff, it's going to create an even bigger problem. And so what we're wanting is a stay on that until this can get removed.
Well, I'm hesitant to go there because this has been on our agenda for several months. And it was just at the last meeting we were able to get confirmation that the pipes were going to be removed. So I don't think anybody's out there knocking on the door to put a shovel and get rid of the rest of the fill. But we're not going to let it go on ad infinitum until we get this done.
No, we're just asking until you do your review. And then whatever you come back with, you can include whatever.
And I don't have a problem with doing it to our review. It's whatever these guys want to say, but it's got to be has to be timely. We need to, we're spinning our wheels here, and haven't gotten anywhere.
Yeah.
So-
As we have
With the pipes removed, you have an open channel across that property now that should be capable of handling the water flow that, my estimate is that it should be able to handle the water flow that it might get hit with.
And that's why we,
There's gonna be a lot of erosion there because there's nothing to keep that filter from being carried downstream.
so, Mr. Singh, yes.
Yeah, the dirt they're talking about, most of the dirt is on my property near my step deck. It's only a little bit elevated, a little bit higher when I put in the pipes. But my whole yard is a downhill. It doesn't even matter if I take away that dirt. The whole yard's a downhill. It's literally just a little bit up from what it originally was and everything. And that I lifted it up so the water doesn't keep coming all the way onto my property. But the easement part where the pipes were, it's all cleared out. There's where the water should be, like shouldn't even be traveling through as a whole thing. I can make a slope, yeah, how much of it? Just a little bit more, like this much. It's not gonna be a big difference. It's just a little bit of dirt. I mean, I can move from the left side because that's not really mine. It's more of the wherever the forest is and everything. That's where most of the dirt is. But most of the dirt we put on is all the way like near my step deck because my mom just wanted to elevate the whole backyard so it's not a full downhill. But what they're wanting is the 30 feet from where my property line is to 30 feet, with easements up to the 20-foot line. And they want me to do 10 more feet where my yard is to just have a little swale. But that swale's not gonna do nothing. My whole yard is already a downward slope. It's just a little bit higher than what it was. It's not gonna stop no water. And by law, I can raise the level of my land if water is coming onto my property, as long as it's not pushing water to other people's property, which is not. It's just gonna let the thing down. The only thing we need to worry about is to, instead of me swaling my land, we need to find a swale to swale the water somewhere else. So water can flow through it. They already have the path and everything.
Well, here's sort of my suggested final word on this, these guys' comments. Quickly, one of the spokesmen for the HOA, get with Whitaker and get with people with the city. Okay, because that's where we're gonna take our direction, is what comes out of these meetings. Okay, and I'm not saying, I very appreciate you bringing this to us. I think, you know, when you have problems in the city wants to be able to try and resolve it as best we can. But we've got to know what the cause of it was and whose responsibility it is before we can fix it. But we've got a lot of people in our city that we've got to deal with. So
Refer this back to
We'll get
engineering.
it to you within a day.
okay, that's great. Get in touch
Yeah,
with
they did.
Mr. Peony and we'll keep this moving.
All right, sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
What's your name?
I missed the
Terry
beginning.
Kinney, Kinney.
Okay, thank you.
Frank, thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Good to see you, Mr. Singh.
If you had a USB, get your,
Can you check the flash drive?
Yeah, you're.
Right now.
Thanks, Terry.
Does anyone from the audience wish to address us this evening? Either online or in the room? Okay, now we'll move on to Terry. Will you have some issues for us?
Yes, sir. One item is the requested approval of the interlocal agreement with the town of Whiteland for the road improvements along South Emerson Avenue, located in the town of Whiteland. The county council has already approved the agreement, resolution 2517, and requested the board of works.
are we sharing cost on improvements in the road?
What's happening, Elmwood Estates 2, not the number 2, Roman numeral. They have to do roadway improvements. They're developing, the land that they're developing is in the city limits. However, the roadway that fronts the land that they're developing is controlled by the town of White. During the development of Elmwood Estates 2, the city's requiring them to do all the normal roadway improvements that we have them do for County Road, diesel lanes, passing blisters, building the road up. So since it is the town of Whitelands roadway, we need to get permission from Whiteland or a memorandum of understanding that while it's their roadway, we're requiring these improvements. From that point forward, we're saying that the city will maintain that segment of roadway, but it's really under their jurisdiction. That's more or less the gist. It should be the gist of that agreement.
City of Greenwood is going to maintain.
Yes.
So
because
then
we're
does
the-
it become part of our road network and we get the funding
No, I
mechanism
don't
for it?
believe that's, I think it's still the town of Whiteland's roadway. Because they annexed first in that area. But we're the ones requiring all these improvements because of that development. And we did this just north in Elmwood Estates. We had an interlocal for a portion of that, because some of it was in Greenwood city limits, but then there was a southern portion that was not.
Okay.
So we did one of these for that subdivision also.
Okay.
And this is a resolution that was issued by the common council November 3rd. Or November 4th. Is there a motion to concur with resolution 2517 of the common council?
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anything else, Terry?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Paul, you haven't had enough to do with us.
The easement encroachment request docket, there's 2 items on the docket, both are for fences. The first one at 147 Rose Lane, it's, everything really is pretty standard, and it just has the 3 standard conditions about if there's any restrictions on drainage that they have to repair it. If the city or any utility has to get into that easement, the property owner is responsible to remove the fence and replace it. And then it holds the utilities in the city harmless from any damage that may be done if we have to get in there. And then contacting Indiana 811 prior to construction.
Is there anyone in the audience or online who wishes to address us in respect to 147 Rose Lane? Maybe not.
You want to just take them all at the same time?
Can't, yeah. Is there, but it's also asked, is there anyone who wishes to address us regarding 1073 Christopher Court? Okay. Let him make his
Same
presentation
situation.
thing and we'll get to you.
The only thing with Christopher Court, there is a storm pipe running along their southern property line. And we did add that condition about staying 5 feet away from the center line of that pipe. And then if they have to cross the pipe, to keep a post at least 4 feet on each side of the pipe. Don't have one right over the top.
What was your folks' name?
Okay, that's
Sam, take your hat off and I can recognize you. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, what was it that you had said, the condition?
Well, there's 4 conditions. Did
Okay.
you receive them? I sent them to an email this afternoon. I mean, I can
Probably
read
not
it.
this afternoon.
Okay.
We started moving this afternoon.
No, that's fine. The first is that the fence is constructed to allow for adequate drainage, and if it is determined by the engineering division and/or the stormwater department that a drainage issue has been created, then the property owner will be responsible to correct said drainage issue. Number 2, that the fence be located no closer than 5 feet from the existing storm sewer. And if allowed to cross, no fence post shall be within 4 feet of the existing storm sewer. Number 3, should work within any easement be necessary by any of the utilities or the city, the property owner shall be responsible for the removal and replacement of fence at their sole expense. And the property owner further holds harmless utilities and city for any damage to said fence. And then finally, number 4, Indiana 811 is notified prior to installing the fence so that all buried utilities can be marked.
Any questions or concerns about any of those? Those are all standard except question about the proximity to the pipe and the fence post.
Yeah, that's the only one, and we just need to take a look at that and give it to the fence company. then.
Yeah, and that they're very common. They'll understand it.
I move for
And that's in the email.
Yes,
Okay,
this
perfect.
memo should be in there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is there a motion to approve both of
Another
them?
question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Back on the 147 Rose Lane, was there anything sent to me on that one?
It was sent to an email address, I can't remember, TNR something. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes. So hopefully you received it. And if not, give us a call.
Okay, thank you.
Those are both up requested for approval. And so is there a motion to approve those two matters?
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I apologize for not recognizing.
The next item is the 2025 pavement crack sealing project. The street department wanted to get this project out to bid this year to get it under contract, but then the work would not be done until the spring of 2026. We received pricing from 3 different companies. HSC Pavement Maintenance was the low quoter at $6,137 per ton applied. The bid or the quote has been reviewed by legal, street department, and engineering, and it has been found to be in order for HSC Pavement Maintenance. And this is actually a lower price than we received last year from Howard Companies when they did the project for us. So engineering and the street department are recommending that the board award the contract to HSC Pavement Maintenance as the lowest responsible forward.
Have you worked with them before?
Yes, they have done it for us in the past, and Jack's not here, but I've heard positive input from the street department.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then the last thing that I have is the Madison project, just across the street here from the city center down the street. During the construction of the Madison project, there was a newly constructed street called Church Street and a new portion of Orchard Lane. And both these segments were between Meridian Street and Madison Avenue. The streets have been in place probably for about a year now. However, there were inspections that were needed. There were some punch list items that needed to be taken care of. So it's taken a little while to get to that point where we can say that the streets are actually okay. We've inspected them, we've gotten as-bills. So we'd like for the board to make a motion to accept these newly constructed streets so that we can submit them to NDOT when we submit other streets to get them into our inventory and start receiving gas tax.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's all I have, thanks.
Anything else, Paul?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Controller, you got something I will say. Greg's coming back from Japan. isn't he?
Yeah, he should be back on Wednesday. I'm here basically just to, if you guys have any questions, I can pass it on or try to answer myself.
You don't have anything for us, so I think we're probably good. Is that true, guys? Okay.
Otherwise, I'm good. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks. Good to see you.
Yep.
I'll move for approval of claims as presented.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Anybody else wish to address the board? If not, we'll stand adjourned at 6:23 PM. Thank you all.